which we now have done. So now it's your chance to shine. So do you think that this observation proves the globe? That's the question. Do you think your observation about the boats proves the globe? That's the question, Solaris.
Yes, absolutely, yes.
Explain yourself.
Well, when a ship goes off into the distance and it drops around the curve of the Earth, the bottom of the ship will disappear first before the top of it. Pirates used to use this back in the day as a tactic where they would only get so close to land that the top of their mast would be around the curve of the Earth so that they could see the land that they were headed to.
Okay, so you think
they were about to actually go into a trap or not before they decided to make an attack plan. I mean, using the curve of the Earth has been a measure of military warfare for fucking 1,000 years.
Okay, so you think the horizon...
I'm sorry, am I the only one that only heard, so you think the horizon?
Headphones are in charge or something. Bluetooth or something, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there. He kind of disconnected, I guess.
Yeah, I posted a picture at 10 minutes after the hour. Why did that boat disappear when they zoom back out? And so's the island behind it, or that whatever that is. This might be a bay. All that land, it's not clouds.
Again, that whole thing is the point.
It goes over the curve. Look at the video. Over the curve it goes. How are we seeing over the curve?
Again, you don't want to accept the answer. So it's not looking over the curve. As I've already said, it's not actually looking over the curve. The fact that you're able to bring it back into view is just focal point. That's all it is. But as you can clearly see in the photo that you posted, if that boat was actually on the surface, level surface with the water at the angle you're posting with that photo right now, it's going to be taking on water. So that boat would be getting ready to sink because the complete side of the boat would be underwater.
What is he talking about?
I have no idea.
The photo you posted.
Broke him with one image. The guy fell apart.
Sounds like another...
The photo you posted, you telling me that GIF that you posted is not showing the boat, that right side of the boat completely under the surface of the water?
Dude, there's land behind the boat.
That's not what I asked. I don't care about the land behind it. I'm asking you about the boat.
Yeah, the boat's in the water like a boat does.
Yeah, is the entire right side of the boat under the surface of the water? Yes or no?
Boat's in the water.
No.
But according to the video, it never breaks above the top of the water. Why?
Got anything better?
Are you bricked?
Why? You keep saying no. Well, this is not what I see. And I thought flat earthers were all about what you could see with your own eyes. I'm seeing this. Why?
I bought a P900 so I can do these same shots.
That's not an answer.
That's what confirms flat.
Change the optic. If you change the optic, if you change the optic like the camera or a telescope, it'll be different. You may be, because it's an optical. It's not because the boat is hiding behind the curvature of the Earth. It's because the boat that is on the surface beyond the horizon that I no longer can resolve the bottom of the boat in that very small angle. The boat continues to move downwards in accordance with other laws of perspective, but the bottom of the boat is unresolvable. It's just an optical phenomenon.
Yo, what voice chat am I in?
You're in the flat Earth.
24/7.
Yeah.
Flat Earth. He moved me to Flat Earth.
Yeah, did you know that you live on a flat Earth?
The Earth is round, bruh.
What makes you think that, bruh?
What makes me think that? Okay,
Yeah.
whatever. The Earth is flat. Well, what's the difference?
Oh, wow, you changed your mind so quickly. There is
I
quite a
don't care.
huge difference, yeah. Yeah, it does make a difference.
Does that bring world peace? Does that stop the wars? Doesn't matter.
I mean, it might. I mean, if it depends on, what you're talking about. I mean, wars are usually done for profit.
I'm
And
talking
there's a lot
about
of,
Ukraine. I'm talking about Palestine. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, so you asked if there was a connection. I was about to make it before you interrupted me. Wars are usually done for profit, and you'll find that the same military-industrial complex that profits off of that type of destruction also profits from the globe lie. Yeah, they're all connected.
Okay, that's good. Why don't you talk about that instead of talking about Earth?
Well, I'm talking about I'm telling you that they're lying to you about where you live. You don't live on a globe. So don't you think it would be useful if you... Same people making the wars you don't like. So don't you think it'd be useful? Don't you think it'd be useful to have correct information about the place you live in order to make decisions in your life and understand your environment?
How's knowing that Earth is flat gonna help me make better decisions in my life?
Great question.
Truly doesn't matter. Truly doesn't matter.
How can you know it doesn't matter when this is the first time you've actually been in here and talked to us about it? How do you already know it doesn't matter when you haven't even heard about it yet?
Because it truly doesn't. I mean, I'm asking you, but you're not answering my question.
Well, I thought it was. It takes a logical thought process to understand that the globe model does not represent the place where we live. So that is an invitation to you, once you realize that, to actually take the world on the terms upon which it displays itself to you and accept reality as it appears, which is flat and stationary. When you begin to do that, then you find that you not only begin to have a more internal locus of control, which will allow you to make better decisions in all areas of your life, you're also able to train your mind to get rid of some of the unnecessary input when you realize that that's coming from disreputable sources that are indeed, as you stated, lying to you about where you live.
Train my mind. Unnecessary input. What the fuck are you talking about? You're just saying big words, and this is just baloney, mumble jumble. I don't care if the Earth is flat, round, fucking triangle. It doesn't matter. You shouldn't. You should care less, to be honest. That's my advice to you. If you want to talk about like politics, religion, some actual things that actually like you can have a debate about. Not
Yeah,
if the Earth
you're
is
right.
flat or round.
There's no debate about the globe. It's been geometrically demonstrated to not be true. Yeah, there's no globe. So you're right. There's no debate.
Have you seen it? Have you seen it?
I've seen the flat Earth. Yep, just like you have.
No,
Yep,
have you
that's where
seen?
we all live.
Have you been to space? Have you been to space and seen the globe?
You don't need to go to
You're
space
assuming
to. Yep, there you go.
What? I'm assuming what?
you're assuming there is an outer space. You're assuming that what you've been told is true. What
You don't think
information has
there's
been
space?
presented to you is true. You're assuming that it's
Okay.
true. Somebody told you something and showed you something and you believed it. That takes faith, right?
It's
Takes
just
faith
common
and,
sense, bro.
and
It's
trust.
just common sense. Okay, let's say
So
there's
it's
no
common sense
space.
to believe
Let's
what
say there's
information. There you go.
let's say there's no space. Where is this flat Earth located?
Oh, you're living here
Yeah, but
wherever you reside.
where's the flat Earth located? Where is it on? Where's its geographic location? Is it in like the
In
middle of
reference to
nowhere? Is it?
what? In reference
Like,
to
okay,
what?
for example, my globe is in the middle of nowhere, and the Milky Way, in in a random
Oh,
galaxy in space. Where is the flat
okay.
Earth?
We've done this. We've done this thought experiment. Let's try the other thought experiment where you don't know what's out there. You can't make any claims about it because you can't get there. You can't touch it. But everything that you can observe here, let's just stick to that. Okay, that's the thought
No,
experiment. You don't have to.
you,
You don't have to. You don't have to look anywhere else. You could say, okay, I don't feel like we're moving in three different directions at high speeds that you can't even fathom. You know,
don't
60,000
force
miles
your
per
beliefs.
hour.
Don't force your beliefs on
I'm
me.
not. No, I'm not forcing beliefs. It's a thought experiment. You understand, right?
I do, but I just want you to answer the simple
Yeah.
question: where is the flat Earth located?
It's right here and now. I mean, think about it. Everybody is residing on in this space, in this realm. And if
In the
the
space.
only
Okay, so
people,
it's in space.
no, if the, well, this is a space, right? You have space to move
Okay.
around. You have space to traverse, correct? You have space to sail. You have space to
Are you saying?
jump into a plane and fly around. But you
Are you
understand
saying?
that this is an enclosed system. We know that why? Because there's pressure, there's gas pressure, right? So we know that it's enclosed because there's gas pressure. So
Okay, so
listen,
now you think
the
the
thought
flat Earth
experiment.
is closed?
Well, it must be right. If it has
Oh,
pressure, if it has gas pressure, can you carry gas around
are we
without
in
a
a jar?
container?
Are we in a jar?
We don't know. Can you go and check?
What?
No, but you've believed that other
Okay,
people
then
have gone and
we
checked.
don't know if it's
That's what
flat
I'm trying to explain to you.
or if it's a globe.
Oh, we
If you
can
don't
measure,
know,
measure
if
it. We can measure
no,
it.
you
Yeah.
can't measure. Okay,
But
okay,
yes,
bring
sir.
out
Yes,
your
sir. We can.
gyroscope. Bring out your gyroscope and measure it. It's gonna turn out to be a globe, bro. We're not living in a jar. We're not living in a flat Earth. We're
Flat
living in
is
a
not a
globe.
shape. Okay, flat is not a shape.
Well, what's flat then?
Yeah, a wall is flat. The plane,
Okay.
the same plane of existence that we are sharing together, that's flat Earth.
Yeah, but it's a surface.
Yeah.
It's like the
How about
ground, right?
you go find the curvature? Use the telescope horizontally and go find that curvature.
I can't understand.
Yeah, you
Sorry.
cannot understand it. Yeah, it's simple.
No, I
A
can't
ball
understand
head,
your accent.
it has curve. Now, if you can prove that curve, you have that curve to prove it.
Where are you from? It's a
Portugal,
weird accent. Portugal.
Portugal,
Okay.
next to Spain.
Portugal. Okay.
Yeah, flat Earth.
Uh,
500 years ago, it was normal.
what?
Flat
Five
Earth,
centuries ago?
500 years ago, it was normal.
5 centuries ago.
Yeah,
Yeah, because 5 centuries ago people had flat minds as well.
like yours.
No, like yours, because you believe the Earth is
You
flat.
are just here mocking. You are
No,
asking,
you mocked me
are we
first.
on
You
a
mocked me
jar?
first.
No, you are asking you were asking to John, are we in a jar? That's mocking.
No, I'm
You're not
asking
here
a
to prove
sincere
anything.
question.
You don't want proof. You are just here trolling. You know, you
No,
don't
I'm not
care
trolling.
about
I'm not trolling.
if we can prove to you or
Ahmad
not.
put me here. Ahmad put me here, to be honest. But I'm not trolling.
Miguel, he got bounced out of another room into
Yeah,
this room.
I got moved here somehow.
Yeah,
So
you don't
do
have to
we?
He was
stay.
talking
Yeah, if you're
about.
not,
John,
you don't have to
Maybe
stay
it's
if
your
you're not
destiny.
interested. Yeah, I mean,
It's my
you would
destiny.
hope so.
Maybe Allah's guiding you towards the truth of the earth.
Okay, let's not get religious here, bro. Let's not talk about religion.
You want to say God
Now
instead? Go
I
on.
appreciate you. I appreciate you. Trying to do the thought experiment, and I do appreciate your question about where are we then. But just because you've been presented with a model,
Thank you.
I'm just asking you. I'm asking you to just do the thought experiment without any preconceived notion about this place. Like imagine you've never heard anything from NASA. You've never heard anything about a globular heliocentric model. From your experience here on Earth, would you derive that you're flying through space in 3 different directions at hundreds of thousands of miles an hour in the middle of an endless void of pressure that's ever expanding?
I don't trust NASA, first off.
Okay.
But I do believe that it's common sense, and I do believe in religion. And like, I could say that most religions believe that the Earth is a globe, or like
that's not true.
Perceive the Earth as to be a globe.
That's
at
not
least
true.
The Bible and the
I can post representations from different religions, and I don't see a ball Earth.
Yeah, I'm not talking
Christianity,
about
Islam both believe in flat Earth.
Yes. So Elias, in this thought experiment, right, you would go to the water, right? Now, if you can see that the water looks flat, right, and imagine you're looking down a big hallway when you're at the beach, everything converges at your center point of vision, right? That's the point of convergence. If you've ever done any perspective drawing, you would know about the point of convergence, because that's how you're going to create your imagery, depending upon which angle you're looking to generate the image. But the idea here is, like, if it's a ball, it has to not, like, there wouldn't be a hump of water in front of you ever, right? There's no hills on a ball. Why? Because the observer standing on the ball would be at the highest point of the ball, right? So everything around that observer, 360 degrees around that observer, would have to have a rate of drop down and away from the observer in all directions around that person. My point in bringing this up is that if you never witnessed that, no matter how good of optics you obtain, right? If you generated the first telescope and you zoomed in as far as you possibly could, and everything that disappeared in your vision came back in vision, and you kept repeating that process, improving your optics, you'd have to come to the conclusion that there is no drop, no rate of drop over distance, right? Now, if you could do this in a large enough area, you'd say, okay, I got 10 square miles in my sights, 360 degrees in my sights. So you got 10 square kilometers, you could call it, or 10 square miles, you could call it. And then just doing straight up math, right? If you've done any construction work, you would know about this. If you have a completely level floor, right? And it's, let's say it's just 20 feet by 20 feet. I could just keep putting completely level floors together in each corner and keep building on that. And that could never make a ball. That's the point. Like, if you have no drop over distance, and it has to be exponential if you're going to create a sphere, you're never going to get a ball from completely flat areas. And that's really the conundrum that this globular model finds itself in, is that no matter how many flat areas you put together, you're never going to make a ball.
Yeah.
Team.
Hi, Raiden. How's it going?
Well, how are you?
Oh, pretty good. Yep. Glad it's the weekend.
That was too much.
You guys been eventually beating each other in the heads over the shape of the earth tonight, or no?
Oh, it's been pretty chill here tonight. We haven't had like a lot of real escalation or anything. Does that disappoint you?
No.
Been pretty calm, but yeah, we've had some decent conversations. People have come and gone like they usually do.
What's the consensus? At or around?
Oh, it's flat rate. Yeah, for sure.
Oh,
No doubt.
Facts.
Okay.
If a person proves the Earth is round, do you just kick them?
No, we all become globe earthers. If it's proof, then it's facts. And then everyone in here is no longer a flat earther. Easy.
What kind of proof are you looking for?
Measuring the ground. If it's curved, then flat earth is dead.
Like scientific
right, Dandelion? Scientifical. This
Yeah,
guy
for
just said
sure.
scientifical dandelion. Hook this guy.
We've been waiting for the curvature measurements.
Scientifical.
We're ready. You got it. Then bring it.
He said scientifical.
Scientifical.
Bro.
I mean, Neil, what kind
He
of
came from a different chat room. He got kicked into this room, Creation Bear.
Oh, really? He
yeah, I
said
got
Yeah, they
forced into
dropped
this
him
room.
in. Yep, they kicked him in here.
I was
Bro.
in atheist. I was in an atheist voice chat.
Yikes. Yikes.
Yes.
Yikes. No, science doesn't have anything to do with it, bro. Let alone scientifical, whatever that means.
What do you mean?
That's a buzzword that people use. Science, physics, gravity. They don't know what these words mean. They just throw them around willy-nilly, right, Dandelion?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, we have very specific definitions for these words, such as science. You could try to use science to prove the rotation of the Earth, but actually you wouldn't be able to do that because it involves a cause and effect relationship. In order to search for the cause for something, you would actually have to observe the effect. Since there's never been any conclusive measurement of rotation, you would not be able to use science for that. You definitely can't use science to disprove the geometry of the sphere. You would use mathematics for that. You would make a conjecture. You would decide, you would try to find out if the Earth was a sphere with a radius of 3,959 miles. Then you could use two possible different parts for the then statement. You could either say, then the curvature would increase at a rate of 8 inches per mile squared, or your then statement could be the horizon would be observable at 1.22 miles times the square root of the observer's height in feet. Either one that you choose, you only need one counterexample to disprove a false conjecture, and we have thousands of counterexamples for either category, whichever one you choose. Would you rather hear about the horizon measurement or the long distance observations?
It's not a physics class, bro.
Is that too much for you, bro? Was that too much?
Yapping for listen. Yapping for
Was that
5
too
minutes.
much?
Oh, I thought you wanted me to be
You
scientific.
It's not gonna make you
Creation
look
Bear.
smart
yeah,
or sound
scientifical.
smart.
Sorry, you want the scientific proof or?
That was as scientifical as I could get. I thought he wanted me to be scientifical. Was I not scientifical enough? You need
Listen,
more
man, I can only listen to
scientifical?
women
said a
yap
bunch
for
of
so long. I
baloney,
get
bro.
it. That's not true. Listen,
Bro,
I can
she
only
yapped for
listen to
5
you for so
minutes
long.
straight.
He was spitting facts, bro.
Not a single sentence was scientifical. It's all baloney, bro. It's a bunch of numbers.
Scientifical.
She probably said pi in there, bro. 3.1415.
That's the problem. Yeah, it
Just
wasn't
baloney.
scientifical enough. I will have to try to be more scientifical. Come back like in 3 months, and maybe I could be more scientifical for you.
Scientific, bro. What the?
Can you just say scientific, please?
$100 that he didn't understand a damn thing she said.
No way. You gotta, Dandelion. Can you put it in like kindergarten terms?
Bro,
This guy's
like you
low
did.
IQ.
Like you did, Oblivion. Can you just summarize the two categories that you just said? Go ahead.
Let's see. I'll give it to you real simply. You have to give you a picture. How about that?
If you even remember the two categories that you just talked about. Because to be honest, I don't even remember.
Yeah, that's why you need a photo. Hold on.
I don't need a photo. I need you to explain it to me.
With captions and everything. We got it for you. There you go. It's loading. Oh, why didn't it do it? Hold on. I gotta delete the second photo and post it afterwards.
Yeah, you can't put two at the same time. Doesn't upload right.
Here's a second.
What's the photo for those listening?
The black swan.
Oh, okay. Bro's about to get cooked.
So this covers both the horizon in its distance exceeding where it should be from the observer's height. The math she explained is in the first image. And that's not disputed, by the way. And it also covers long-range observations over water, far exceeding
Okay,
where the horizon
can you
should be
explain
based on the
the
math.
first picture?
The image that talks about the
Modestolens,
math.
holy schnikes. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't
What's
like
this?
to do that one. I just read the math.
If the Earth is a sphere with a radius 3959 miles, then every horizon distance measurement must be no more than 1.225 square root. Okay. Okay, just explain whatever you can. The rig picture, for example.
It says it right there. Observer height, 1 foot. Max distance, geometric horizon, sphere, would be 1.22 miles. Though, you're seeing objects 9.41 miles and the horizon clearly well behind it. Not only that, you're seeing another object be even closer, 6.12 miles, which you shouldn't be able to see.
Okay, so you're saying if the Earth was a globe, then we shouldn't see the 10 mile away platform.
Oh, no, you should be seeing the horizon
behind it. Yeah, the horizon shouldn't be behind it. The horizon will be well before both of those images.
Where should it be?
1.22 miles. At 1.22 miles, exactly as it says. And by the way, this math here in the first image is not disputed by literally anyone.
Okay. So the rig picture, I don't understand it, to be honest.
Notice the horizon is behind the image. Or I'm sorry, behind the oil rig at 9.41 miles.
No, I don't see it.
What do you mean?
The horizon?
Yeah.
Where is it?
The line where the sky appears to meet the water.
Okay.
That's called the horizon.
The sky? Oh, okay.
You know, like when you're standing on a beach and you look out over the water where the sky appears to meet the water, that's called the horizon.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Okay, so that shouldn't appear there, is what you're saying.
Not me. The math of a sphere. Max distance, geometric horizon, sphere should be 1.22 miles.
Okay, you're saying it should be where exactly? 1.22
At 1.22 miles from the observer.
From the observer.
So it should be, in other words, way in front of all these objects.
Oh, so you're saying the rig shouldn't appear, right?
Not the bottoms of them.
Uh-huh.
You know how they always say boats go and disappear bottom up over the horizon?
Maybe.
Well, anyway, these things should be disappearing bottom up from the other side of the horizon.
So the whole platform shouldn't appear.
You shouldn't see the bottom at all. And the horizon should not be behind way over 10 miles away.
To be honest, I don't think this proves anything. The Earth is not a perfect circle.
Are you saying there's a flat spot on water?
No, not a flat spot, but you could say it's like an oval shape. It's not a perfect circle. It's definitely not a
So
perfect
you're saying the Earth is like how many times bigger? Over 10 times bigger than they claim? The Earth is a certain size. It must have a certain radius. They tell us the radius based on an observer height of that radius, which is 3959 miles. 1 foot observer height equals geometric horizon at 1.22 miles. It's very simple.
I mean, it's. I don't think you can like summarize it to be like this, you know. It's an ocean. There's waves. You gotta check the weather that day, I guess.
I don't know what you're saying. You're not saying anything.
I don't believe this proves anything, to be honest.
Well, it's not a matter of belief. Belief is thinking something without evidence. That's actually what you're doing.
And you're doing what? This is your
showing you evidence, facts, observation, measurements.
None of those things you mentioned would make the horizon appear further. If anything, they would obscure your vision, not make the horizon appear further.
Yeah, whatever, bro.
Well, high waves would obscure your long range vision at a 1 foot observer height, right? Like a 2 foot wave in front of you would block it.
Yeah.
So waves have nothing to do with it then. So you're just saying things that you don't know anything about. Or, well, you haven't thought about it well enough.
I mean, as I said, I don't really care about if the Earth is flat or round. And I don't believe... Maybe this math is made up. I'm not sure. I mean, it's just a picture of two rigs. They could be like... I'm not exactly sure how far apart they could be. But this could be off, like...
I agree. Radius is curious. If the math in the black swan images is correct, why won't the scientific community corroborate it? Do you guys have any ideas about that, or?
Scientific community?
Yeah, why won't they say, okay, yeah, that's correct?
Yeah, I met the physicist guy 25 years ago. And he did say to me, there's people question about the shape of the Earth. There's people question about the moon landings being fake. And he even said they did found a barrier. Interesting. That was 25 years ago. But, he never said flat Earth. But it was very interesting. 25 years ago, a physicist talking about that to me. So you say in the scientific community, you are making a huge claim,
Why would they agree with the math? That's what I'm wondering.
With the math, I can post a formula from University of Washington.
What scientist agrees with the math?
I'm just wondering, why won't the scientific community just say, okay, yeah, you're right. Your math is correct. We need to change up everything. Why won't they do that?
Which one says it's not correct?
The people who say that the Earth is a sphere.
What people? People. This people, that people? What person says it's not correct?
Mainstream science.
So you're just making shit up?
No, mainstream science says the Earth is a sphere. That's not made up.
Mainstream science, they go to school, they learn the information that everybody, even we did receive that information, okay? They learn the same information, and they just believe it, because no one did prove it was a globe, okay? You just believe it, okay? So, yeah, and it's a belief.
Fair enough.
Yeah,
mainstream science says 3959s are wrong.
Yeah.
Ask ChatGTP if the Earth has a radius of 3959 miles, how far away would the horizon be at a 1 foot observer height? And it specifically says 1.22 miles.
This is the mainstream, Matt. This is the claim of the mainstream that we are demonstrating is not accurate and is not observed in reality. The math is not in question by anyone.
I prefaced that. I even said, and by the way, this math is not questioned literally by anyone.
You did say that. Yes, you did say that.
Except Elias, he questions it. And the radius. You can't.
Even NASA has distance to the horizon. Even NASA has their website, distance to the horizon. But I did post this from Washington University of Washington, Department of Mathematics. But anyway, the argument of the black swan is not the the two oil-rigged platforms. It's where is the horizon? So you can see it's behind the second oil rig. If you count 10 miles, that means the radius is 67 times larger. I did post the math right there. 67 times larger. So what's going on?
Yes, the Earth is a triangle.
Yeah, like your head.
I want the email address of the guy named Mainstream Science so I can talk to him, figure out what he says is wrong.
Mainstream science.
The Suez Canal? No, it has 120 miles. From the English side, the English engineers, they were saying it was impossible to construct according to the curvature of Earth. But de Lesseps, the French engineer, he did construct according to flat Earth. There's even an article that was published talking about it, okay? So, yeah, 120 miles and it's flat because the guy didn't care about any curvature.
Bro.
And then they after that, there was a law, and to avoid people to construct, to avoid people to do construction according to any curvature. So that was very interesting.
Nah.
Yeah, impossible. There's no ball. Your ball is just a story that you just believe it. At school, everybody did believe it. You can NASA can mock you with full bullshit CGI animations, manipulate photos.
Mm-hmm.
Say nah again.
Abrahamic religions.
You guys are the best.
Thanks.
Exquisite.
You got that email address of Mainstream Science yet?
You said an email address?
Yeah, you said some guy named Mainstream Science disagrees with the 3959, so I'd like to talk to him and find out what's wrong with it.
Well, I'll make a deal with you. If you can find anyone at the U.S. National Geodetic Survey that can say the Earth is flat,
I didn't make no claim to that.
I'll meet you in Sweden when you receive your Nobel Prize. How's that? And I'll take you out to dinner.
Mainstream Science exists. You don't know what Mainstream Science says.
How do you know what I know? That's interesting.
I can post a photo of a guy that he was he is a surveyor, and he was believing that the Earth was a ball. But when he was there in the field, he did found that there's no curvature.
I mean, I think the better question is, why do people believe in all these claims of space when it violates the second law of thermodynamics? And the only thing they know about it from like their primary experience is just like being massively saturated in all forms of media that it in fact exists.
How does it violate the second law of thermodynamics?
Gas pressure. Why doesn't the gas on Earth fuck off into the vacuum?
What do you mean? It
entropy
because of gravity.
Well, then why isn't like in the kinetic theory of gases? Why is there no gravity in there?
I'm unfamiliar.
Yeah, so like gravity, if you have a gas, it expands in every direction. It ignores gravity. There is no gravity when it comes to gas. The gas molecules aren't taking little parabolic arcs and falling back to Earth. So if you just look at the behavior of gas, so if you could just do this one experiment, right? You can make a vacuum chamber, insert a little gas, and see if the gas sinks to the bottom, or whether the gas distributes evenly throughout the container, right? So you got a vacuum, and in your supposition, well, it's kind of not yours; it's somebody else's, but the one you're laying out here, the gas gravity, right? Especially on the surface of the Earth, where the gravity is the strongest, should be able to hold the gas away from the vacuum. So it should all be held down at the bottom of the vacuum chamber. So at the bottom of the vacuum chamber, there'd be more pressure than at the top of the vacuum chamber. But that's not what anybody ever actually experiences. The gas distributes evenly. The pressure in the chamber will be even. No matter where I measure it, I'm going to get the same pressure measurement. See, I mean, people just say, "Oh, gravity holds the gas." Yeah, that's a cool hypothesis. But like, do you have anything beyond the hypothesis? That's what's happening. Like, do you have an experiment which can demonstrate that somehow gravity can create thermodynamic gas pressure? Right? Why do we have a gravitational theory of thermodynamics? Why doesn't gravity do work? Right?
Wait,
Yeah, it would be a gravitational.
Because it's not a force.
Look, if you take a gas, right, and you compress it, the temperature goes up, the pressure goes up.
Correct.
Okay, so that means gravity would be doing work on the gas.
No.
What do you mean no?
It
means pressure and temperature go up. What are you talking about? It's going up.
Think of it like this: space is flat; it's a sheet of paper. Okay. Then gravity makes a well. Gravity is literally the container. Gravity is the cup that the gas is in. And do we lose gas? Yeah, we do. But here's the problem: as the gas is expands and cools in a larger and larger expanding space, because when it expands away from the Earth, it's expanding in 3 dimensions, not 2. So growth is exponential. So it cools faster, and they're separated, and then they fall back in because that pressure is no longer applied. It's no longer concentrated enough for it to escape gravity. That's why.
Yeah, that's a cool story.
Yeah, it's a cool story. Everything you said.
Well, yeah, I literally gave you an experiment.
Yeah, and if people want to look at that experiment, they can. That's fine. I gave you an experiment with the first question I asked you. I said, take lead or shielding, put it around your phone so that it couldn't send a radio wave in a straight line. There's no way it could get one, but still have access to the sky, and you're still going to get a phone signal. Whereas if you put a shielding plate above your phone, right, you can prevent it from receiving a signal. Why is that? That's a test you can do yourself with your own phone, with just a little bit of, acquiring materials.
First of all, you made that up.
I just did.
Because lead doesn't.
Anybody in here can do that. Anybody in here can do that.
Okay, and they aren't going to get the result you said because you made up what would happen. Lead does not block radio waves. It blocks radiation.
Sure.
Energetic particles, radioactive particles, not radio waves. If you want to block radio waves, you need to make a Faraday cage, not a block of lead. Okay? You don't know what you're talking about. You just said anybody can go through this. And do what? Show that you're a fucking idiot?
Okay. So, since lead doesn't work, right, then a Faraday cage.
Yeah, move on from it, idiot. Move on from it, idiot.
Unbelievable.
Hold on, brother. Hold on. It's not unbelievable because I could have sworn. No, brother. I could have sworn you. I could have sworn you presented it, and it's something you've done, and everyone could just follow your example.
No, it was a thought experiment.
Yeah, sure you did. You did it. So it was a thought experiment that you did in reality. Hold on. It's a thought experiment that he did in reality.
Cool. Did I say I did it? When did I say that?
Yeah.
I didn't say you said that. I said you presented it as if you've done it.
No, I didn't.
You said anybody can do this, and this is what's going to happen.
They can.
And because you know what? And what you said will happen won't happen.
I encourage everyone to. I encourage everyone
go do that.
to. Yeah, I encourage
Please, use that too.
Yeah, be the change, bro, and do it yourself, and then tell us how it worked.
Now, aluminum would be more likely to block it than fucking lead. Okay. It depends on the electronegativity. Depends on the electronegativity of the material. It's on charge. You don't know anything about this. You're just like grasping at straws, dude.
I'm not grasping. I'm proposing. I'm proposing a potential experiment that, if done, would prove one way or another whether or not it travels in a straight line or not. To you, to any individual who wants to know.
No, it wouldn't.
Why not?
Because you have just because you have a reception angle doesn't mean you know where the source was.
Okay.
It could have been zigzag, jallywag for all you know, dude.
Okay, but how would it do that?
Reflection.
It doesn't matter.
It's called multipath reflection.
Okay, cool. If it can bounce around, it doesn't have to travel in a straight line, then it's not at all remarkable that it went from the United States to Australia.
Then what is it bouncing off of?
No, that's... Okay, so now it's my turn to laugh at you. No, now it's my turn to laugh at you, dude. The charged ionosphere, obviously, but that's not what you would say.
Ionosphere? But you need a sphere for that.
Yeah, because it is a sphere. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll just champ it. It's a sphere.
Yeah.
So the evidence that the radio waves are not on a flat surface is because there's an ionosphere.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's a sphere.
Ionosphere in the atmosphere, yeah. No.
And
you asked me. Okay, you asked me what it was bouncing off of. I told you.
Check this out. What's the evidence for the ionosphere?
What's the evidence for the ionosphere, dude? I don't know.
Yes. Do you want to know what the evidence is?
Sure. Tell me.
The fact that there's 10,000-mile radio transmissions, and the only way they can keep it above is saying the radio waves are bouncing off of something.
I'm sure that's why they say that.
That is exactly why they say it. They even have to invoke things like negative refraction to even make it work in any sort of model. Because every time a radio transmission bounces, it loses power and gets diffracted. So in order to keep the same power, they need to reverse their equation and create negative refraction. So you have or what they call a pointing vector, reverse pointing vector, so that the signal's getting amplified instead of getting smaller. Because it would take so many bounces to bounce between the ionosphere and the surface of the Earth, losing power each and every freaking bounce and being absorbed, that there's no way it could get to the other side. It would be the signal would be gone, and every time it would bounce, because the inner radius of the Earth compared to the outer radius of the ionosphere would flatten out the bounce path, because the angle of incidence equals the angle of reflection, and you got two different freaking curvature of the surfaces. You're not going to have equal fucking angle bounces, and so it's going to be a flatter and flatter bounce. The only way they can make this even remotely plausible is to invoke fucking magic.
Mm-hmm.
Well, negative refraction, dude. Instead of when it passes through the refractive medium, instead of falling off exponentially, it gets amplified exponentially. You get super lensed fucking radio signals that bounce all the way around the ball.
Yeah, and the only evidence for this, friend, is a presupposition that you put at the beginning of your argument string, and you fallaciously affirm it at the end.
Oh, so the only evidence that we have is the bouncing of the radio waves. I think that's what you said. Is that true?
No.
Then what? Okay, so then how can we know?
No, the radio waves.
What, dude?
Okay, so what was said, unless I'm mistaken, right? What was said was the only evidence for the ionosphere is the long distance communication. Is that not what was said?
No. I mean, kind of, but not exactly.
Okay, so I was told that's
it's
what made
not
my argument
evidence.
circular.
It's an ad hoc hypothesis to stop the globe from being falsified.
I see. So
right? It's
what
not
is the
evidence
other?
or
Are you familiar? Are you familiar with other evidences and proofs for the ionosphere, or is that the only one you're familiar with?
Such as?
Oh, I'm asking a question.
Yeah, such as what?
No, I'm asking.
Am I aware of it?
Yeah.
I mean, the ionosphere itself as a concept is pretty fucking shady. Okay.
Okay.
So I'll give you an example. During the day, the ionosphere is supposed to let your radio transmissions do skywave propagation and go 400 miles. But then magically at night, somehow because it's dark out or something, now you can send radio wave transmissions that go 10,000 miles. Now, how the ionosphere works on one side of the Earth, right? Because according to you guys, it's a ball, and the ball's rotating. And it just happens to be that one side of the Earth is illuminated and the other side isn't. So that means the ionosphere, which is also supposed to be a ball, is some fucking weird asymmetry, right, on the dark side compared to the fucking light side. Right, with the ionosphere on the fucking dark side is low, it has a low elevation, low altitude, but the dark side, but the ionosphere, or on the ionosphere on the dark side is a high elevation, but on the light side it has a low elevation. Well, what's it do with the terminator line?
Solar.
I mean, are you asking me? Because I asked you, and I didn't understand.
Does that make any sense?
It's because
no,
of solar.
I didn't understand a lot of the stuff you said.
It's because of solar.
So what's it do with the terminator line?
The terminator line would be.
Does it like hockey stick? Does it like hockey stick, like where the sun ends? Right when you have right at that part. If you're like, if I'm watching the sun and the sunset, right, and it's on the horizon.
I'll give you a good analogy.
I take one step to the right. Does like the ionosphere suddenly I can take my radio? Oh, it's only a 300-mile transmission. And I take 3 steps to the fucking right, so I don't see the sun anymore, and now I can transmit at 10,000 miles. Is that how it works?
Why would you be standing having anything to do with it? It's about the transmission. It's about your antenna. It'd be about
because it depends on whether you're in daylight or not.
Yes, right. Because it's solar. Yeah, so it'd be like the same as like thinking about like if you're using your hockey stick analogy, it'd be like having like a bunch of people skating on the rink all day, and there's a bunch of like extra fucking like cuts from like people's like stopping, and there's a bunch of snow on the not snow but like shavings of ice on the hockey rink, right? And then you were able to like go up and you like hit the hockey puck and it would slow it down because there's a bunch of like shavings of the surrounding, which would be like the ice shavings, right? That would be the solar interference, like that would be the solar interference, would be the slowing down of the particles that are waves but are getting directly pushed back by waves at the same time. But I digress. Yeah, I really enjoyed this conversation, so I just want to jump in.
Okay, so just to tell you, the hockey stick analogy is a description of a graph. So when a graph is horizontal,
I know, and I was being facetious because I was trying to explain it with the hockey stick. So I understand what you're saying, but I was just being facetious. So sorry. Go ahead.
Why? Thanks, brother.
But did that make sense? What I said?
Nothing you said makes sense. It was fucking incoherent gibberish.
But I said that it would be it's slowing the puck down through the solar.
Through the solar what?
Through the solar interference. It's like
they don't say it's solar interference. What they say is that there's a layer of charged particles that surround the Earth, and when you're on the day side, they're at one elevation, and then when you're on the night side, they're at a higher elevation. So you can reflect, you can bounce it further away.
No, it's not elevation. It's that you don't have the solar radiation.
No, it is elevation, altitude, the altitude of the ionosphere, right? So from on the day side, like say it's 30 miles. Then I'm on the night side. The ionosphere is 1,000 miles up. So it can travel farther in a single bounce if it's higher than when it's lower. This is what they say happens. That the ionosphere has different altitudes.
But wait. But are you saying that it? Are you saying that why would it matter if it was night or day then?
That's my point.
Yeah, because because it's the particles there's way more particles in the air at nighttime than there are in daytime, and the reason why there's less particles in the air is because the sun is carrying particles. Just it being the sun.
God, just stop, dude! I can't take no more of this fucking gibberish. Someone fucking help me, God, dude.
Well, what about this, right? If the charged ionosphere exists, why is it charged? Out of curiosity, it's from the sunlight, right? Like concentration of energy from the sun.
If the stuff they told you is true, then what? I mean, you're presupposing that all of this stuff is real and testable and verifiable.
It could be fucking from lightning.
Okay, cool. Pick up a globe, like if you have one, and look at it, right? And imagine that one side is being hit by light from the sun, right? And the other side isn't. And we have a charged ionosphere. One side is receiving no supercharging from the sun, and the other side isn't. So I would expect, at least, I would expect the density of the ionosphere to be greater.
Not the density.
Is that you're correct. That was a misspeak. You're correct. You're correct. That was a misspeak, right?
No, you guys are making up your own theory. What they say is that the ionosphere is at different altitudes. Okay, why are you talking over me? Okay. Fuck, dude. They don't say thickness. They say it's at different fucking altitudes. You understand? Different altitudes.
I do. I understand.
Okay, so if it's at say 100 miles, then it hits the Terminator line. Does it just fucking go vertical as soon as it hits the fucking Terminator up to 4,000 miles?
I don't know what specific thing you're asking me.
Oh, God.
Because what? No, okay, no. You're talking about the ionosphere, which is a ball around a ball, right?
And one ball, the daytime ball is smaller than the fucking nighttime ball. So when you go from the daytime ball to the nighttime ball, what happens?
The daytime to nighttime? The imagine it as the inner ball, which is the Earth, right, is closer to the nighttime side, which would be the ionosphere. And then on the daytime side, it would be further away. And the reason why is because of the charged particles from the sun.
Listening to you is getting just straight painful. You trying to fucking resuscitate something that's dead, dude. Hey, you don't. Yeah. You're not addressing the issue. Okay? The issue is, on the daytime side, the ionosphere is closer to the surface of the Earth. Right?
Yeah.
So let's say it's 300 miles above the surface of the Earth. That means you have a hemisphere that's 300 miles in radius, larger than 3,959 miles. Now let's skip over to the nighttime side. Now that's 1,000 miles above the surface of the Earth. Now the radius of that hemisphere
Did he stop talking?
Hold on, my headphones died, bro.
All right.
Yeah, I think they're working now. Hold on, let me go. Oh, yeah, we're connected. Good. Okay, so on the nighttime side, the ionosphere is 1,000 miles above the surface of the Earth. The radius of that ionosphere, that hemisphere that's on the nighttime side, the half sphere, is 3,959 miles plus 1,000 miles. So you have ionosphere daytime, a ball of one size, ionosphere nighttime,
a ball of greater size. Well, they have to connect at some point, right?
Yeah.
At the Terminator.
I already proposed.
So how do they connect to each other? Is it continuous?
I already proposed a possible explanation for this, and that is the Earth is not at the center, right? The Earth, because of the interference of the sun, is not at the center of the ionic sphere.
So you saying it's asymmetric?
Yeah, I'm saying that is one possible explanation for it. Yeah.
That's a great speculation.
It is.
Or the Earth is just flat. You don't need all this gobbledygook. We don't need to speculate. Yeah, hey, dude, it acts like it's flat. Oh, maybe because it is flat. Oh no, but it's actually a fucking ball. But to keep it a ball, we have to make this convoluted bullshit.
Huh?
We have to use our imagination. Sorry, how many times did you say imagine, bro?
Interesting.
Yeah, interesting. If your whole worldview depends on imagination, you don't have a worldview that conforms with reality.
Okay. Well, I'm not religious, so.
What's that got to do with anything?
Well, you said that. Never mind. It's fine. My ideals comporting to reality. It was a cheap shot at people who are religious. It was not necessary.
Look, if you're running around saying imagine, you're the most religious person here.
Really?
So the globe is a religion that does not have a deity associated with it. That's all it is.
Like I misspoke earlier, right? And the room sort of jumped on me. You just said if you imagine a lot, that's a religion. That's insane.
Okay, no. If you have to imagine a lot, okay. Let's use an analogy. I imagine that when it rains, that's the fucking spirit of the fucking rain god.
Sure.
And that's what causes rain.
Sure.
Now I can imagine that. Now if I'm trying to quote unquote explain natural phenomenon, but that explanation is based on me imagining how it works.
Okay.
Is that religious?
Yeah. But the thing that's religious
that's what you
would be basing the thing that's religious is basing the belief on the imagination.
Yeah, that's what you're doing.
No, see, we're critiquing what you said, not what I'm doing. What you said was anyone who imagines a lot is religious, is what you said. So that was an insane thing to say, and you're trying to act like you didn't say it.
Okay, that's a straw man. You didn't quote me verbatim on what I said.
It's
not verbatim what I said.
It's what you said.
You want to rewind the second stream and find out?
Sure.
And then when you're shown to be wrong, you'll get banned. You guys do this shit all the time. You try to straw man play a game, and you guys always lose this game. Always.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's not what I heard.
I'm very precise with my words because you guys are weasels.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I want to be proven wrong. I want to be proven wrong. Go ahead.
Very well.
I don't know if we're pulling up the clip. I'd like to see it. In 1 year, this will all be AI? Yeah. Sorry, my mic is... I didn't realize my mic was still on. Sorry. AI? Yeah. Sorry. I mean, I don't know if we're pulling up the clip. I would like to see it. In 1 year, this will all be AI? Yeah. Sorry, my mic is... I didn't realize my mic was still on. Sorry. I mean, I'll happily watch the clip, but out of curiosity, since you're trying to clip it now, I assume you've seen it again. How off was I with my words to your words, since I clearly wasn't a perfect stenographer?
What he was getting at, I believe, particles aren't people. I think he was basically getting on at the fact that you're believing all of this stuff with no evidence of your own. You're just trusting. You know what I mean? You're just trusting that there's an ionosphere. You're just trusting that there's outer space. You're just trusting that this information of gases being lost to outer space and then regained again. I mean, like the mental gymnastics that you're doing with no firsthand knowledge and then sitting here telling everybody, hey, this is how it is, when you have no idea. You know that.
I've been asking questions.
You know that.
That's what I've been doing. And proposing ideas. I haven't hook, line, and sinker said anything definitively other than things that I am able to test, right?
All right, so you're just doing a thought experiment. Is that why you're asking these questions?
Well,
you don't believe the Earth is a ball, and that there's an outer space.
I do believe the Earth is a globe. Yes, I do believe that. But I did not make any definitive statements to that effect. And also, this is not the issue at hand. The issue at hand was his silly statement.
I understand you're on this micro issue about his statement. Yeah. I understand that. Yeah. But while we're waiting, I mean, so I propose to you this question: how many completely flat areas does it take to create a sphere?
How many completely flat areas does it take to make a sphere? I don't know. I don't know what's the answer.
It's impossible.
How do you know?
Can't create a sphere out of flat areas.
How do you know?
You need drop over distance. You need drop over distance to create a sphere. It needs to be measurable and repeatably measurable, and it needs to be exponential in its rate of descent from the observer.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Every curve, if you zoom in enough, has edges. There's no such thing as a perfect curve.
If there's a radius, then there has to be a measurable curve, and it needs to be the same. It needs to be repeatable. Even if the surface wasn't a perfect sphere, it would still need to be repeatable in all of the different areas that you're measuring.
I mean,
right?
So
if you're measuring a ball, you need to measure curve, right? And even if it's not a perfect sphere, you still have to have measurements that are repeatable by everybody, correct?
I've realized you're not asking the questions. Just go ahead. Yeah, you're not asking the question. Just go ahead. No, can I? Okay, which thing should I respond to?
How many flat areas does it take? And even if everything has been measured and you don't find any curvature, how is that going to ever create a sphere?
Okay, I have a question for you to answer your question. How do you know?
How does a question answer a question, sir?
Because it will. You just have to, it's like 2 sentences long. How do you know that there isn't some number of flat surfaces that equal a sphere? Is it your intuition that you're using to come to that conclusion?
I'm an artist and a builder, dude. I mean, I do architectural drawings, son. I mean, what I'm trying to explain to you is level is level, right? If you put level surfaces together, you're going to get level. If you're not going to get a sphere out of level surfaces, son.
Okay. How do you know that? Did you do a personal first-hand experiment to come to that conclusion?
Oh my God,
use your imagination? Did you use your imagination to come to that conclusion?
Like I posted our little discussion in the chat. I never said what you said. I said anyway.
Okay.
Sphere is defined. The definition of a sphere, the property, is that it's equidistant from the center. A flat line can't be equidistant from a point. Period.
So I'm not.
No matter
so
what, it can't be. No, I want you to listen to it.
Oh, okay.
No, I want you to listen to it.
Yeah, I'll go listen to it real quick.
I'll just tell I'm not banned. Anticipating being banned, buddy? So this is a new one. Like I've heard this 2 times now. I heard it yesterday and today. The infinite straight line sphere. John, were you in our home server yesterday? Did you hear them saying that yesterday too?
Oh yeah. It's my favorite. It's my favorite rebuttal to the globular argument. It's like, listen, man, how many flat areas does it take to make a ball, guys? Come on.
As many as it takes.
It's like, don't believe your eyes. Trust us.
All right, I heard it.
So no matter how flat it is, just keep looking to the sky for the answers, right? Keep doing thought experiments about outer space and infinite space and burning balls of gas.
Doing thought experiments to come to conclusions about how it's impossible for a flat surface to ever come to a globe. It's something you haven't tested and couldn't know.
Water always seeks to find its level, genius. The Earth is covered in water.
What does that have to do with infinite surfaces?
Go out in the water. No matter how far you look, it's always going to be flat.
What does that have to do with infinite surfaces never making a globe? What does that have to do with it?
It's not infinite surfaces, son.
Yeah, you have to use your imagination.
That's the point.
Yeah, you have to use your imagination to come to that conclusion,
we're talking about what you can actually measure and witness here. We're not talking about imagining things.
Okay, then how did you disprove that no amount of flat surface could ever equal a globe? How did you disprove that mathematically?
I just told you.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. The definition of a sphere or a circle is equidistant from the center.
Okay.
No line can be equidistant from any point.
Okay.
Right? Because that makes a triangle. And the hypotenuse of a triangle is longer than the side. Right? So say I have a line, and I have the part of the line that's closest to that point. I have a point, and I have a line that's not on the point. And I go, hey, where on the line is it closest to this point? Okay, here. And then I draw another line to the end of the line, right? From the point to the end of the line. Now that makes a triangle. The point to the closest point on the line, and the line to the end of the line, right? That makes a triangle. Now the hypotenuse has to be longer than the fucking side, the closest line, right? The fucking line that's on the shortest line has to be this way. They can't be equidistant.
Okay.
So you can't have a bunch of lines to make a sphere because the sphere has to be equidistant to all points.
Okay. So one of these lines, you must have an example of one in reality that I can compare and make sure they're parallel, right? Or is this something that we imagine?
No one said parallel.
Yeah,
Who mentioned parallel?
Okay.
No one mentioned
fine.
parallel.
Equidistant from point or whatever. It's fine.
Equidistant means if I draw a dot, right? Boom, there's my center. And if I draw a circle around it, every point on that circle is the same distance, the radius, to that dot, right?
If it is in the center, yes.
Okay, yes, so that's the radius, right? That's equidistant. That's what I mean by equidistant. Has an equal distance to all the points. On a sphere, it's 3 dimensions, so every point on the surface of the sphere is equidistant from the center.
Okay.
This can't happen with a line, period.
Okay. Is the Earth, like people who say the Earth is a globe, do they purport that it's a
Okay, why the fuck you asking me a question? Just acknowledge that we demonstrated you can't have a fucking sphere with infinite lines, because that violates the property of the sphere.
No, I do not.
You're fucking muted forever. Fucking douche now.
Yesterday they didn't know about triangle. Today this guy doesn't know what is a sphere.
No, or a circle.
We have to open like a geometry class or something.
Dude, like 3rd grade geometry.
Yeah, 3rd grade is too high for them. I think we have to go kindergarten.
Bro, I had to fucking hold in the biggest laugh right there. Holy crap. Got the whole family sleeping. I'm about to fucking start dying laughing, dude.
Yeah, you say you do construction, right? Or something like that?
Yeah, I do a lot of shit. But yeah, I build stuff.
Imagine getting this guy as a newbie at the job site, and he's like, you can have a sphere with fucking made of infinite lines. Like, bro.
We're gonna do an arched bridge, but we're gonna do it level. Yeah, imagine that. I want an arched bridge over my koi pond. And this guy builds you a level. Well, if you just go far enough, you'll see the arch. It'll start arching. You just gotta keep
engineer.
more.
How are we ever gonna make this? There's a fucking curve in it. Just use this level.
Unbelievable. Oh man. You could totally make a ball with flat areas, dude. I mean, wow. Yeah, you almost feel bad, right? Education system has failed you.
Well, the thing is, these are the guys that think like mankind is so smart and wonderful. We're like these high technologists that like we're way beyond. We're like freaking mega brains in the modern times. And like, you don't know what level is. No wonder why you think every other human being's a mega brain.
He's too busy pondering what's going on in, like, Andromeda galaxy or something. Or the Andromeda cluster or some crap like that.
He was just talking about the ionosphere. He doesn't know what level it is. Come on, dude. Like, bro, you're way out. Like, no. Can't take you seriously. Are the fucking ions level? Like, how do you level ions? Like, you should worry about that.
The sun's particles. Oh, God. That was brutal.